Knave of Hearts presents Before the Tone. Episode 4. Our Many-Eyed Man.
Hey, you've reached Daria. I'm not at the phone right now, so leave a message after the tone and I'll get back to you when I can. Well. If it isn't the voicemail message of my beloved sister. I'm trying not to worry about you, but that would be made easier if you answered your phone. I just got off work, which was fine. Nothing too exciting to report. I came in a couple minutes early and hung out with Danny until their shift was over, which was nice. Turns out they're a big Neil Gaiman fan, so we chatted about that for a bit. They recommended one of his anthologies, Fragile Things, so I'll have to check that out. Watching the CCTV was fine. I'm getting into the swing of it now. There was one late-night consultation with someone representing a marketing firm. I tuned in for a bit, but it was not overly exciting, so I'll probably just start listening to music or an audiobook next time. Oh, before I forget, I did look into the myth of Io. My interest was our many-eyed man Argus, so there was not much material, actually. Not as much as, Io, the title character. But I did learn some things. He was a giant with 100 eyes. I'm fairly certain I said 1,000 before. I was wrong. To be fair, though, it is still a lot of eyes. He was also favored by Hera, which is a generally good position to be in. You do not want to get on the bad side of the Queen of the Gods. After he was killed, his eyes were given to the peacock as a sign of respect. It's really interesting to me. Commonly, figures in Greek mythology are placed in the stars as constellations, but he was placed on an animal. I guess if he was a constellation, he'd be the whole night sky, with each star being one of his eyes, always open and watching. But it is not lost on me that he did not survive to the end of his myth, 'cause that's only vaguely concerning if I'm to compare myself to him. Anyway, that's all I've got so far. I did not have time to look into mythology surrounding Atlas, but I'll get to it. The big news that I have to share is that today was the first day of my creative writing class. I am officially on my way to a master's in library and information science. I'm lucky that this program lets me start with an elective since, I've been wanting to take a creative writing course for forever, and it lets me get a feel for the school if I want to stick with this program. This class actually seems like it's going to be pretty good. It was in a smaller classroom, which was nice. I don't do big lecture halls. The professor seems good, if a little tough. Definitely not going to be an easy A class, but I am taking this class to get better at writing and shit, so hopefully this will push me to really level up. But it will be a lot of work, and I might not be able to call as much. Not that you've been picking up. Not that I'm bitter, but anyway. We're going to start with a unit on short story writing. We have a lot of assigned reading, but are also encouraged to read more short stories in our free time, should we have such a thing. There's even a forum for recommending good stories to classmates, which I really like. Oh, and this is extra incentive to try out that anthology Danny recommended. But yeah, I'm definitely going to check out the story recs people have. What else? Oh, so peer review, peer editing is going to be a big part of the class. We were encouraged to pick partners to work with for this unit or for the full semester. I am going to be working with the person who I was sitting next to already. It's kind of funny. She got to class before me, and I just immediately thought she looked like somebody I'd want to be friends with. She has... You remember that haircut you had a few years ago? The bye cut? She has that. Dyed in pastel colors. It is perfection. And she has a matching little bi flag sticker on her cane, if you were wondering. Also, several very cute cat stickers. Her name is Pascal, and I am very much looking forward to working with her. Among the first bit of assigned reading tonight are some Hemingway short stories, which I'm not thrilled about, to be honest. I like writing with a bit more description. Oh, I've got to go. My Uber's here. Like I said, I'm not going to be able to call every day, but hopefully when I call next, you'll pick up. Love you.
Leave a message after the tone, and I'll get back to you when I can.
Hello, hello to Our Lady of perpetually not answering her phone. It's Mack. I just got home, but I actually have a vaguely interesting CCTV story for you this fine middle of the night, so I thought I'd stay up and leave you a voicemail. Okay, maybe interesting is not the right word for my tale, but it was definitely weird. So, I looked at the itinerary and saw that there was a consultation scheduled for 11:30 during my shift. This was already a little weird, because generally, if there's going to be a meeting during my shift, it'll be at the start, around 7, which is a normal human time for a meeting, if a bit later than normal business hours. But this was at 11:30 at night. That's a weird time for a consultation. It was a strategic patent consultation with a company called Eterna. But that's all the detail I got from the itinerary, since that's just for scheduling, not details. One thing I've been wanting to get better at with the CCTV is following a moving object, like a person, over multiple areas, moving from camera to see them. It's the type of thing you'd do if there's a suspicious person or a loose dog in the archives or something. It's an important skill to have. I tried to do this when the Eterna folk came in. I did okay, mostly. It was pretty easy to follow their path. They were just going from the lobby up to one of the conference rooms. There were a couple of times, though, where I'd be following them and I'd lose them. Like, they would be going from point A to point C, but I wouldn't see them at all at point B. And by the time I'd find them, they'd already have moved on to point E or something. It was a little confusing. I assume that was my messing up looking through the cameras, since there are so many, but it still struck me as a little odd. This is random, but they also walked through the building really fast. I don't know, it was a normal speed, I guess. I seem to be the only one who struggles with the hallways, even including outside business people. Whatever. The meeting itself was what struck me as really weird. It started off normal. I wasn't even planning on tuning into the audio. I was listening to my music most of the night and had only paused it for a few minutes to focus on following them on the cameras. The 3 businessmen meet Saphira in the conference room. It's kind of funny, they reminded me of the men with the attaché case from Wayside School. They were the ones with apparent access to the 19th story that doesn't exist and was never built. I don't know, man, that was just the vibe. Just these 3 businessmen in suits with official-looking briefcases at 11 p.m. gave me that vibe. So yeah, here's where it gets a little weird. They had briefcases, which were never opened, and yellow legal pads on which they did not take notes. They started off by writing the date, presumably, and then left them blank, despite their pens staying at attention the whole time. After a couple minutes of this, I tuned into the audio, and what they were saying was weird. Now, maybe it was just a lot of technical and legal jargon, but I'm not sure. It was like I understood all the words they were saying individually, but I have no idea what they were talking about. I heard them bring up things like particle manipulation, temporal something or other, and a lot of discussion of scheduling. They seemed to bring up dates and times a lot throughout the meeting, but I don't necessarily think that was for planning the next meeting. I was very confused, but Saphira seemed very much in her element. She could clearly understand where the conversation was going. Maybe I'll ask her about it next time I see her if I am not too awkward. At the end of the meeting, remember those legal pads they didn't write on? They all carefully tore off the top page of their notes and put it in the shredder. That's weird, right? I don't know, man. I guess it is likely that it's common practice for this kind of stuff, and I'm just not aware of that. Taking and keeping notes could be discoverable in the future, which I suppose makes sense if they're talking about something they hadn't patented yet, if they had taken notes. But I really don't know. It is 1:40 in the morning. Why is it that you travel all over the world and I'm the one who gets jet lag? I am so tired. I think I'm going to end this here and head to bed. Good night. Love you.
This episode has featured the voices of Anna Stein as Mack, Johanna Puranen as Daria, and Rebecca Hansson in the credits. It was written by Anna Stein, with script editing by Sarahlily Stein. Sound design and dialogue editing were done by Katharine Seaton. The theme music was composed by Duck Edwards, featuring score by Arhynn Descy. It was directed by Anna Stein. Special thanks to our Indiegogo backers, Jay Petriquin, Cody Jackson, and Claudia Elvidge, and to our Monarch and Spacetime tier backers, Jacob Stein and Steven Stein, as well as to everyone who backed the campaign. For updates and ominous messaging, follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Knave of Hearts AD. Disclaimer: all time wasted should be disposed of accordingly.
And right behind her was a hulking figure. No, not a figure. A mass. A mass of stretched gray skin. Human skin, but from someone long dead. Stretched so thin you could see something rotting and roiling beneath, but somehow keeping its shape, keeping itself together. A flimsy flesh sack, dragging itself across the floor. Hainai is a supernatural horror audio drama about Filipina immigrant Mari Datuin, whose babaylan, or shaman family background, accidentally gets her involved in stopping dangerous supernatural events in Toronto. Most of the story is told through in-universe phone calls or tape recordings, with some episodes dealing with Filipino folklore. You can listen to all episodes on Acast, Spotify, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. If you want to get early access to ad-free episodes, bonus audio, art and video, episode shoutouts, and other fantastic perks, you can subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/HinayPod, HINAYPOD. Thank you, maraming salamat, and hanggang sa muli, until we meet again.